return of the Allies. It is late 1941. After 3 centuries of Spanish rule, after a generation of American guardianship, the time has come when the thriving Commonwealth of the Philippines can look forward to complete independence. But first, the Philippine Islands, named after Philip II of Spain, are destined to be ruled by another emperor, Hirohito of Japan. The Far East is in turmoil. Under the Americans, Filipinos prepare to defend their freedom. Cavite on Manila Bay, headquarters of the United States Asiatic Fleet. The false calm that shrouded Pearl Harbor lulls Cavite. Cavite's fate, disaster. Once Spanish warships, sunk by Admiral Dewey's squadron, lay dead on the floor of Manila Bay, and the Philippines became American. Now, in December 1941, the bones of American sailors litter the harbor, and the Philippines are torn from the United States. Manila goes, Bataan goes, and so goes Corregidor. In fire and agony, in smoke and anguish, the Commonwealth of the Philippines is extinguished. The Japanese take over. The victor, General Homma of the Imperial Japanese Army. Americans and Filipinos are stripped of their power, seemingly forever. The vanquished, Americans and Filipinos, whose hope of freedom is gone, seemingly forever. But at Pearl Harbor, 2.5 years later, Roosevelt and his chief of staff, Admiral Leahy, Nimitz and MacArthur perfect the grand design for the liberation of the Philippines. The long, arduous advance across the Pacific has brought the Allies to Leyte, in the center of the Philippines. There, in October 1944, the Americans landed with a panoply of naval power such as no ocean has seen since man first went down to the sea in ships. Through the 7,100 islands of the Philippine archipelago, through jungle and swamp, through enemy-infested waters and rainforests, the Allies fight their campaign of liberation. Who remembers the names of the beaches, of the towns, of the islands to be taken? Who but those who were there? On Mindanao and Mindoro, on Panay and Cebu, at Balabac and Busanga, at Simara and Sambuanga. Who remembers the names? Those who fought there, those who survived there. On Negros and Bohol, at Burias and Rome Blanc, at Dumaguete and Catanduanes, at Parang and Balete Pass. Who remembers the names? Those who bled there, those who died there. Supporting sailors in confined waters, supporting soldiers on confined islands, breaking the way for further invasion. The carrier pilots of Admiral Halsey's Third Fleet challenged the remnants of Japanese sea and air power in, around, and over the Philippines. Striking boldly through the South China Sea, Admiral Halsey hit Samoy, Hong Kong, Canton, Hainan, Turan, Cape Saint-Jacques, Saigon, Indochina, Cochin China, and China itself. These are the pillars on which rests the Japanese Empire. These are the pillars that give way under the weight of the United States Navy. Luzon, largest of the Philippines, is softened up, made ripe for invasion. Luzon, and the prize of the campaign, Manila. From Hollandia and New Guinea, from Manus in the Admiralties, from Bougainville in the Solomons, from Ulithi in the Carolines, from 10,000 times 10,000 villages, towns, and cities in the United States, New Zealand, and Australia, Allied men and ships converge on the Philippines, on Luzon. Through Surigao Strait they come, sailing westward into the Mindanao Sea, and thence across the Sulu Sea, through Mindoro Strait, and north into the South China Sea, up along the west coast of Luzon and into Lingayen Gulf. It is January 1945. Every gun on every ship, every gun from port to starboard, every gun from stem to stern pounds the shores of Lingayen Gulf, unlocking the back door to Manila, 100 miles due south. Landing craft carrying the United States 6th Army jockey for position, circling patiently until they can edge into line for the fateful run to the beach. The Japanese know that if Luzon goes, all of Southeast Asia goes with it. So they sweep Lingayen Gulf with their divine wind, the kamikaze. Suicide pilots smash themselves against the invading ships, human projectiles conceived in a marriage of desperation and despair. Terror reigns in Lingayen Gulf as the kamikazes strike, and strike, and strike again. But the landings go on. Ashore, the Japanese, baffled and confused by the swift succession of Allied moves and feints, cannot stop the flow of invasion. The 6th Army takes over Lingayen Gulf and seizes a beachhead 17 miles wide, 4 miles deep. And on the beaches, Filipinos greet the return of the Americans to Luzon. But the powers of death have not yet done their worst. Manila is still 100 miles away, and the road south will be long and cruel and bitter. Arma slashes into the central Luzon plain, and advancing columns spurt toward Clark Field, more than halfway to Manila. Clark Field, core of Japanese air power in the Philippines. Here, American bombers were caught and demolished on the ground in December 1941. Now, 3 years later, the broken aircraft of Japan make more desolate the scorched, abandoned earth. There are other landings on Luzon, at Zambales, at Nasugbu, at Legazpi. From northeast and southwest, converging soldiers close on Manila, streaming through liberated villages where war has come and gone. But ahead, the defenders have converted Manila into one enormous pillbox. Manila ceases to be a civilized city and becomes the cesspool of hell in the final battle for the liberation of the Philippines. The suburbs of Manila, designed for ease and rest and relaxation. Rizal Memorial Park, the baseball stadium. But another kind of game is being played now, where one era means out and death keeps the score. Inside the city, every building a fortress, every wall a rampart. The streets are mined, the intersections barricaded. Enemy suicide squads challenge each crossing, every corner. The battle for Manila. War, block by block, street by street, house by house, room by room. Devastation is but a part of the price man must pay for his freedom. the ancient Spanish section of Manila, called Intramuros, in the business district, the last resistance breaks, as all such resistance must, till the war drums throb no longer, and the battle flags are furled in the Parliament of Man, the Federation of the World. Come unto me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. The flags of the free go up in the Philippines, in Manila, in Bataan, on Corregidor. President Roosevelt has told the world, American soldiers fight not for the lust of conquest. They fight to end conquest. They fight to liberate. The admirals and the generals come. Admiral Nimitz and General MacArthur, those who forged the grand design for liberation, those who directed its execution. They come not as conquerors, but rather as aides to help the Commonwealth of the Philippines quench the fire of war and rekindle the flame of honor and independence. They come to lead the Filipinos out of terror into light. The strife is over, the battle done. The song of triumph has begun.